when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you for staying with us. We are going to head on straight on into our first interview this morning. We're speaking with Dr. Andrew Dhanoo, the president of the Diabetes Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and we're talking about regulating fast foods in the fight against diabetes. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and welcome. And of course, I'm saying welcome. Thank you so much for having me, and good morning to Tobago and Trinidad.
Right. So we're talking about regulating the regulation of fast foods. We're talking about like the advertising, the marketing, and the promoting of this specifically in schools. I know that's a major concern. I know that a survey was done. I know information was gathered, and we're looking at how much fast food is consumed, especially by the young persons between that impressionable age in our society, and of course the spike in diabetes, and them being the population that really carries that disease. And so we want to address this situation. Where can we regulate? How do we regulate? And what do we do? What do we put in place? So let's start having that conversation this morning.
Yeah, and thanks very much for bringing that up. And of course, this conversation has been sparked by the minister's comments earlier this week at the UHealth Expo, where he actually called out some of the brands which have been infiltrating our school systems and, of course, our society for the last few decades, actually. So what we really need to understand, first of all, is that the conversation on these foods is not just at a personal level, because I think a lot of persons from throughout the country have been talking about this for the last few days, and that they're talking about what they can do at a personal level, making healthier choices, making choices to not consume some of the fast foods, the healthier options. But there's also a responsibility on government and policy makers in that these choices are important and will be facilitated by the environment. Now, when we talk about the environment, we talk about things that can be done and things that can be changed to regulate the fast food industry, or regulate ultra processed food production. So the thing is that if it is that we have these regulations, if it is that we have these regulations in place, then we can be able to allow people to make better choices, allow people to be able to do better. And some of the things that we've been talking about, and I mean, one of the things people have picked up more in the last few days is taxation, which is really one of the things which has been done to persuade people to, of course, not consume unhealthier foods. So it's not just about taxation. It's about marketing to children. It's about marketing unhealthy foods to children. It's about proper labeling, and front of package labeling is important. It's about providing healthier foods and making them accessible and cheaper and available for persons to consume, and persons to provide for their families.
Now, I also know that the minister mentioned that there is no conversation right now in terms of regulating the marketing of fast foods. And also that in the fast food, I also know that the fast food industry is a multi-million-dollar industry. The minister even spoke about this industry providing jobs for persons and also bringing in income as they too pay their taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, what are the repercussions? Because the more you market, the reason you go into business is to make money. The reason you sell an item is to make money. So if we're talking now about regulating the advertising, this talks about your profit margin now being impacted because now you want to market it less, which means your sales will decrease. So I'm looking at it from that angle, and I'm thinking that is a heavy price to pay, because the more aggressive your marketing is, of course, is the more your consumers will consume, and of course we end up with the end result of the diabetes spike increasing because we're consuming more. So I would like to see where the conversation, if there is any at all, for the actual regulation of this, and also not just that, providing alternative choices. I think, is there any conversation in terms of a public education or awareness or any sort of initiative where we go back to teaching people how to feed themselves? Because this is one of the
Mm.
very important things as well. We need to learn how to teach ourselves, how to feed ourselves from our home gardens, school gardens. These are some of the policies that we need to implement in our schools, in our homes, that we can
Mm.
manufacture our own foods rather than
Mm.
relying on, as I know, fast foods are very convenient and they might be cheaper, but there are things that
Yeah.
we need to do as well. What is your take on that, and what is your recommendations for people to start feeding themselves?
Yeah. So I want to start with the first point that you make about profits. So we need to consider people over profits, and this is a campaign that has been or has been happening across the Caribbean, led by the Healthy Caribbean Coalition, which is you're considering profits, and of course these companies are considering profits, but in making these profits, and we just saw one of the largest fast food conglomerates or already distributors in Trinidad and Tobago announcing that they've made their historic ever profit in the history of their being in the country, and so they're making so much profit, meaning that of course persons are purchasing, and purchasers are purchasing to the detriment of their health. Now, I started off the conversation talking about persons having responsibility and being able or should be able to make their own choices. Now, that's more difficult than said, because the thing is that there are many other factors that are going to play a role in whether or not you're able to make some of these choices, whether or not you're able to purchase some of these things, whether or not you have the time to be able to prepare the meals that you're supposed to prepare. So there are lots of factors we need to consider. And this is why policies at higher levels which facilitate this or facilitate healthier environments are important. Now, the thing is that if it is that we are saying, okay, we want people to eat healthier, we want people to make healthier choices and buy healthier foods and so on. Now, we've been saying this for the last, however, decades that we know NCDs and non-communicable diseases have been problems. So we've been saying this for quite a long time. However, persons it's very difficult for one. It's very difficult for persons who have ingrained tradition. So in Caribbean households, in Trinidad and Tobagonian households, you're accustomed using a lot of butter in your cooking. You're accustomed using very fatty foods. You're accustomed having soft drinks. And this is an issue that of course we have, and it's difficult to change some of the mindsets of persons who've been doing this for a very long time. But if it is that we now provide enabling environments for them, so for example, we are now, and this again, this is one of the things that the Minister of Health was talking about last year, and he did meet all of the major fast food industry heads. And he suggested to them that, have healthier versions. So when people go to reach for the fast food, they're not just reaching for the chicken and chips and the pizza, but there may be salads, there may be ground provisions available, there may be balanced meals available, that the same people who would, instead of choosing that, they would have that opportunity. Because when we talk about food, it's a lot of factors in play. So it's taste, it's price, it's convenience, and of course we talk about health of the food, or the health benefits of the food. Now, when we talk about fast food, it's in the name. It's about convenience. And if you make healthier food convenient, and of course maintain a good price within people could reach it, then we could be able to extend it more to persons and allow them to be able to purchase more of this.
You really mentioned something there that's very important. It's all about the taste. And the thing is, it's a cultural thing. You said that in Trinidad and Tobago, in our homes, we are accustomed to, doing things a certain way. So it really has to impact our cultural choices and how we were cultured in terms of food and how we consume
Mhm.
food. We look for specific taste. Providing healthy alternatives might not be the easiest. It might not have an immediate impact because people are still going after that taste. Imagine walking into a famous fast food chain and asking, "Oh, may I have a salad, please?" You'd probably go to
Yeah.
a salad bar for that. You wouldn't want to go there for that. So it kind of really is about changing the culture, and changing the culture will come from will stem from educating our people and exposing them to the benefits of healthy eating. And I want to add this there: the media and advertising plays a very, very pivotal role in the way it
It's
highly
huge.
influences our decisions. So I believe all stakeholders have to come on board for this particular issue to ensure that we do this public education rollout for people to see the actual effects and the impacts that these types of food, consuming these types of food, have on our society, killing out our society. The younger ones are terribly affected by this disease. So I'm thinking that maybe collaboration should happen, public education, and a change in the culture of the way we consume and prepare our meals. What is your take on that?
Yes. So I wanted to hit that point that you spoke about in terms of the media and advertising and marketing. Now, this is one of the ways, and of course, the minister did mention this on Monday, in that the marketing budgets for some of these industries around the world are huge. And the thing is that anywhere you go in Trinidad or Tobago, you will be seeing these billboards of these fast foods advertising. Any newspaper you open, I guarantee you there'll be at least one full page ad for some fast food restaurant. Anytime you turn on the television or turn on the radio, you might be hearing these things. And these advertising are not just targeted at adults, but also targeted at children. So here's where you have soft drink companies sponsoring football teams at schools, and you have chicken and chips companies giving away SEA kits before exams, or you have a franchise when we have a flood in Trinidad and Tobago, or you have some natural disaster stepping in, and I'm saying, oh, look at the Good Samaritans. But they are getting marketing out of that. They're getting brand allegiance because of that. And they know that because they do that, people are now going to say, oh, because they provided for me in my time of need, which may just be worth $25 giving you a box or something, you are now more loyal to them, and you're going to purchase hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I mean, it's marketing tactic. It's just marketing to them. So we really need to we have started the conversation, and I'm hoping that, I mean, the minister isn't, and the ministry isn't ready at this point in time to regulate, but we do need to engage and have regulation of these products, because here's what, you cannot target these highly sugar sweetened beverages or snacks to children. In many countries, many more developed countries than Trinidad and Tobago, we have regulations. For example, you can't have a cartoon character in a cereal box, because of course that's going to encourage children to eat high sugar cereals in the morning. You can't advertise during the times children may watch cartoons during the day. You can't advertise some fast foods. You can't have certain ultra processed foods in schools. And this is the norm in some more developed societies around the world. And here's where we have to move towards. Another tactic that we've spoken about, so besides the marketing, another tactic is about labeling, about being able to identify what foods are high in sugar and high in salt, and so on. So front of package labeling is very important, because most persons don't turn around the package at the back. So here's where we need, again, to build this enabling environment for persons to be able to easily make better choices and to make sustainable choices as well.
And also, when we're talking about labeling, teaching our young people how to read the labels as well. I think that for me, the primary thing here is education. We need to start the education from as early as possible. I want to say thank you so much for joining us this morning and for bringing some awareness to this topic and for having this conversation. And I want to see where the conversation goes with our stakeholders and our policymakers as they work towards regulating the consumption of unhealthy foods. Because, I mean, sometimes you want a little cheat meal, which I'm okay with, but we can't continue to make it a part of our daily consumption, because it is, of course, destroying our nation. So thank you so much for bringing light to this, and all the best in the fight against diabetes, all the best as you continue conversations with our stakeholders and policymakers to implement the right policies to help us to be a healthier Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue conversations in our studio with our guests, but before we do, we have to go for a short break, and as we go to this break, of course, we are going to invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back